Is it cheaper to take out a personal loan over a longer period of time, but with a lower APR, with a view to settling it after, say, 2 years, compared with taking a PCP out over a short period of time, but with a higher interest rate, and paying that off after 2 years? That's what we're going to try and work out today. Welcome back to the channel, folks. JD here again. So the other day, and I'll put a link up to it here, I put a video out looking at a 3-year and a 4-year PCP, and was there any benefit in paying that off at 2 years on the 3 years or the 4 years, if that makes sense. So basically, is it cheaper if you're going to pay off a PCP after 2 years to take it over a 4-year term or a 3-year term? Now, somebody commented, it's quite a good comment actually, what about comparing the same thing with a personal loan? Now, I have talked about making your own balloon HP, if you like, or kind of a pseudo PCP, by taking out a personal loan over a longer period of time, such that, say, the settlement figure after, say, 3 years is similar to what the settlement would be on a PCP. That sometimes will save money because on personal loans, depending on your personal circumstances, obviously, you can get a really good rate. Tesco loans, for example, at the moment have a 2.8% APR, and I doubt you would get that on any PCP, certainly not used PCPs or HPs. So this is totally off the cuff again, so we'll see what happens. So let's say we were taking out a PCP, and I'll use a similar example to last week. I can't remember the exact figures, but I know it was 5.5% APR, which was it 5.9? Well, let's do 5.9. So let's say we were buying a car on PCP at £25,000, no deposit, and let's say, actually change that to £25,000, not £2,500. Let's say the guaranteed future value after 3 years was £10,000. And let's say the quoted APR was 5.9, and let's say we're doing it over 3 years. So that will be, we'll make this actually 3 years, so that's 35 equal payments. Month 36 is where the GFV lies. So that's coming out at £515 a month. Total amount payable just over 28,000. Okay. So what you can do, what I kind of do, is when I'm looking at personal loans, is I look at a term such that the monthly payment is going to be similar, and also the settlement is going to be similar after, say, 3 years. So if we go to the second tab, let's say we're going to borrow 25,000 again, and no guaranteed future value because it's a straight loan, and let's say I can get it at 2.8. Now, as I said earlier, Tesco have got 2.8% APR. They only have to give that headline rate to 51% of applications, so you might not be successful. And normally you only find out if you're going to get that rate once you've gone through an application, which can then affect your credit score and things. So it's a little bit tricky, but let's assume you can get 2.8% APR. Now, so I'm going to guess, I'm going to say 5 years to begin with. So 5 years is giving us a monthly payment. Oh, wow, look, 446. That's even cheaper. Okay, let's make it 4 years. 550. Okay, so we need to take a loan out. Remember, what I'm trying to do is get the same monthly payment as the PCP. Let's try 52 months. 510 versus 515. Oh, it wasn't bad. Okay, so let's say we're going to take a personal loan out for the same amount of money, 25 grand, 2.8% APR, and I'm going to take it out over 52 months. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute. You've taken that over 52 months. And you've taken the PCP out over 36 months or 35 equal payments. Well, yes, I have. But remember, we're only paying down £15,000 of the capital in that time because we've got the GFV of 10,000. So if I look on my personal loan log at the end of 36 months or 35 equal payments, hopefully you can see this. So what are we on? Row 53. Yeah, look at that. So the settlement is 8,504. So the settlement after 35 equal payments on the PCP would have been £10,000. On the personal loan, it would have been 8.5. So you can see that just by comparing a similar monthly payment, and let's remember that the personal loan is also £5 a month cheaper. So £5 times 36, what's that going to be? 180 quid, is it? Something like that. So it's 180 quid cheaper on payments, and also the settlement is £1,500 cheaper. So that's something useful to do, and I have talked about that before. Now, obviously, you don't get the benefits that a PCP or HP would have in terms of voluntary termination and that kind of thing. This is a personal loan, but it's just something to consider. Now, the question was, what would happen at the 2-year point? So the 2-year point on the PCP, it would cost us £14,957, roughly. Okay, so that's after 2 years. On the personal loan after 2 years, 13,800. So even after 2 years, we are still going to be, I've lost it again, 24, that's row 42, yeah, 14,957 versus 13,832. So still cheaper. And got to remember, with a personal loan, you can settle it any time. There's no penalty. You can run it longer. So imagine if you wanted to keep the car. Personally, I don't think doing a PCP on a car that you know you're going to get rid of. Sorry, I'll start again. Personally, I think if you take a PCP on a car that you know you want to own, I wouldn't bother with a PCP, because you've got to remember you've paid interest on this £10,000. And then what are you going to do after the 3 years? You've then got to either find £10,000 from somewhere or refinance it. So you're paying interest twice on that balloon payment to own the car. So in this case, when you're taking a personal loan out, running it for 52 months, yes, you've got the payments longer, but we know that at the end of month 24, we owe less. At the end of month 35, we owe less, £1,500 less. And all we've got to do is carry on with that same monthly payment for another, 20 months or so, and we own the car. Whereas on a PCP, if you want to keep the car, you've got to refinance that, start again, another credit application, and you're paying interest twice. And are you going to get 2.8%? Not if you refinance the PCP. You might if you went down the personal loan route. So you may as well start with the personal loan. Does that make sense? I hope so. So you can see it's quite useful. Now, obviously, I've said you're not necessarily going to get that 2.8% rate. But I've had it before, it is possible. So it might be worth something to consider. Certainly if you are looking at a used car, a new car, you might get 2.8%, 2.9%. I hope that was useful as usual. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you want a copy of the spreadsheet I've been using today, it's a one-off donation of £10 to include as many updates as I care to release. I've also got the now popular salary sacrifice EV scheme spreadsheet, which enables you to see if it's worthwhile having a company car allowance versus a company EV scheme through salary sacrifice. So that's really useful. And I will see you next time. And if you, by the way, if you're thinking about joining Octopus Energy, I've got a referral code in the description. We'll each get 50 quid. Obviously, I know it's not really the time to talk about energy because it's so expensive wherever you go, but they do have some good overnight tariffs if you are thinking of getting an electric vehicle. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching. Take care.